like just super
yeah,
hammy and corny.
Now it's recording.
Yeah.
All right. Chad, talk us in.
I always talk us in. Tom, you talk.
Oh, fine, again.
Intro.
Evening, folks and ladies and germs. This is another episode of Gamble This. You obviously know me from my past Asshole experiences, and you know Chad from his politeness.
Yep.
We'll go around the table and again introduce like we usually do. Scott, you're on.
All right, it's Captain, returning guest. Sitting next to me is Matthew Leach.
Yeah, Matt Leach.
Jake Leach.
And Jacob Leach.
So,
quick intro.
Scott, how many gambler rigs have you had, and what was your favorite one that you have built?
Well, that's easy. It's the Liberty, the one and only. It's three gamblers in. I'm gonna be on the fourth. It knocks like a diesel, but she still goes. So I'll keep sending it.
Which one sounds more like a diesel, the Liberty or the actual diesel school bus?
Plan
Liberty.
B. Yeah, Plan B.
The Liberty.
Yeah.
The Liberty sounds more like a diesel than the diesel does.
Your little party bus.
Yep,
I was hoping you were gonna take that out.
I
I figured Plan B was like obviously backup plan just in case.
That's it. You know.
You never know.
It may be my only way home next time. Who knows?
Yeah.
I've learned from past gamblers that you don't go completely unprepared. At least have AAA.
Yeah, or a Volvo, because according to the way they post now, they'll tow any Volvo sold anytime, anywhere. That works too.
Interesting.
Yeah, because they break down so often.
Yeah. All right, Matt. What about you with your rigs?
So the Cube 1.0. It was Noble Steed. Had the radiator. Did 2 gamblers with that. Spring and fall, 2018.
Those of you that don't know radiator, it was mounted on the outside of the car, on the hood,
on the roof.
on the front bumper.
Up on the roof.
On the roof.
Yeah.
On the
It was
roof.
pretty rad. It was off a Ford Crown Vic Interceptor.
Oh, nice. Oversized radiator.
Oversized radiator.
Oversized
Had about
radiator.
3.5 gallons of Dex Cool in it.
And the radiator alone?
In the radiator and the piping.
I'm going to say, because you had a mile of piping.
So it had just conduit, and I ran rubber for all the corners.
So who burnt their hand on the piping? I mean, somebody had to open the door and grab it.
No,
Somebody did.
Shit, can't think of his name. Runs the Mercedes, the War Wagon. He came up. You burned your hands on it. I put on there too. I was like hot. I put it on with magic marker because I knew someone was gonna come up. You know. And he came up and grabbed it. He was like, ah! And then his buddy's like, dude, it says hot. And he's like, well, I didn't. And then he thought like,
I don't want to say anything to seem more stupid than I already.
I don't like this thing on here. So other than that, no one's been burned on it. We had to explode.
Yeah.
Coming up.
I was close.
You were close, yeah. It was full steam ahead coming around the corner. There was either the option of fucking hammering it through the wall and up and over, which I knew the front wheel drive wasn't going to do it. So I took the other option of coming up and around. Got halfway up and was just chugging away, and then I lost steam in the standard. As soon as it fucking stopped running, sprayed everywhere. So it was just like a fucking, spray show. And then after that, the Jeep guy was like, oh yeah, I got a radiator hose for me. He's like, I was supposed to replace one of my hoses. He brings it over, like exact, like fucking pipe that I need. One of he was like the safety rigs or the tow rigs or whatever, search and rescue.
Yeah.
Rescue,
yeah. But killed her in the water hole. I don't even know which one it was, but one of the big water holes. So now I'm running the Coupe 2.0. That's an 0193 hatchback. Just put the stage 2 tune in her, so she's a little feisty now. Got the fuel pump hopefully situated. No more issues with that. We know she'll run like 1,200 miles on a low pressure line at least. So I mean,
we know she'll
tough
pump
to
21 pounds when you get on it.
Yeah. So yeah.
basically a mobile putting green.
Yeah, mobile putting green. We got the grass on the roof and the golf ball on the hood.
There's some new upgrades.
Yeah. Just got the new front bumper. New wide gauge
I like the
Fenders.
fenders. And
tusks you got sticking off the side of it.
that was all Jake. I'm glad he was there because I was like getting ready to cut him off. And he was like, "But what if you just
Left them.
He's like, I'm like, right here? He goes, no. He goes, just keep going. I'm like,
It looks like a catfish whisker.
Yeah, that's what Juan was saying when I was following him to Maine for the Lemons rally. He's just like, dude, you look like a fucking catfish. He goes, you're so wide and low to the ground.
I can't wait till you get into some brush and try to back up and just start dragging.
Yeah, so that's
You're
the only,
just gonna like
as long
start
as I don't
catching
get
trees.
fish hooked. Yeah, that's the only downside of like, and then maybe we
There's no backing out of a trail for you. You just gotta keep going.
Go forward. Yeah, onward and outward. So bigger tires are coming, hopefully.
You already got some with the spacers that are on it in the tires. It's
Yeah,
pretty
it looks
beefy.
nice. Yeah, it looks nice. I almost got them before doing the Lemons rally, but I'm like, it's just pavement pounding. It makes no sense to get mutters on there before.
Ruin
doing
the
that.
tread on the tires on the pavement.
So I'd like to get tall and skinny just because I don't want to do like a lift kit right now. Stage this shit, but.
Tall and skinny is the way to go anyhow.
It is the way to go, but it's hard to find that size. It's without spending a shit ton.
I
Like
want
$300 a tire.
Well, I'm willing to spend more than that. I'm looking for my Toyota truck there. I want 35s by 10.5. That's an impossible fucking size to find.
Yeah.
There's like 2 manufacturers that make the tires I don't like. They're not good for snow. So 6 months a year it snows in New York.
That's the problem. That Adirondack is different. That's that sand and then the water.
And
you
the
start
muck.
mixing up. It's like a slurry. You got your wide tire and you just lose momentum quickly.
We actually were talking about that in the last episode about how wider tires always end up being a problem when it comes to slushy or like a wet mucky.
It turns into a slurry real quick and you just
dig holes. You don't drive over it.
Yeah.
After Frozen Nuts, I was following Jake back to camp. He was losing power, cutting in and out, and he was still keeping ahead of me because he had skinny snow tires on. I had the Liberty with a 12.5-inch freaking mud tires on it, and I was
Floating.
like, man. Okay, Jake, you got to go your speed. I
got
to go mine.
I'll do
right?
me, you do you. Yeah.
I couldn't keep up. And Kevin's insane in that neon, man.
Yeah.
He
That thing's gone.
flies.
Yeah.
He flies in that neon.
Yeah.
How about you, bud? What about your rigs and your favorite one?
You guys all know about my Jeep elope and all the stories with that. Then that got transformed into the Fuck It Bucket, which I had my fun with that, but now it's got a roasted transmission. Roasted clutch, I should say. Transmission's alright. I don't know if I feel like doing it. I probably will, but I don't know. Could be doing it by my damn self. It's
The
gonna
week
suck.
before he's replacing the clutch.
Those of you that don't know the
I told
name,
him.
the Fuck It Bucket is a Forester with the front end of a Jeep.
Yeah.
The front end of the Jeep elope, actually.
Yeah,
The Jeep elope
the
lives
Jeep
on.
elope, yeah.
Keeping the
With
Jeep
a Medusa
alive.
head and a fucking dildo on the hood and wood
my
paneling down
detachable
one
Like
penis.
side.
3 or 4 layers of mud guards on the back tires, I think, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's 75
Uh,
rulers
Cedar
glued to it.
shingles. Or cedar shakes.
Yeah.
It's pieced together.
It worked
It's
though.
a piece of art.
It's whatever he had in the shed. It all went on there.
I
Must
do
go.
now have the Yaris and also have acquired the Yard Ass. So I've got
you
lots
did
of parts
dual
and lots of
Yaris.
possibilities. I
And
haven't
you got
decided what I'm going to
fans
do with
and-
that yet, but
You need the rally.
Yeah, he's
Something.
got many options.
You need the rally, the Yaris.
I took it out for that Happy Valley cleanup thing, and I beat the shit out of it in the woods that day. I knocked the exhaust off of it at least.
Good. Sounds better.
And it took
If
a
a one
beating.
sound can sound any better.
1.5.
It took a
liters
beating.
Fury.
So
Toyotas are durable.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
at least it's a stick shift.
Unless Chad owns them.
I've only had one major breakdown with it, and that was a quick fix. So
You got the 3.0 though, don't you?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fucking stout engine though. That
No,
bitch
it's
will
not.
run
It's
forever.
the
What?
bastard motor.
No,
It is the
That is
bastard motor.
Toyota's bastard motor.
The one. The
Oh, they
same-
got rid of it as soon as they made it. They put it. They
the
put it in
V6
production.
3.0?
Yeah, huh?
Hell no.
Oh yeah, they switched it to 3.
Oh, Joe, I'm down.
They switched to the
never
3.4
mind,
after
never
that.
mind.
They were in like my
Mitsubishi,
generation
alright.
of truck, and it's like, yeah, you got the shit motor. Have fun.
Yeah, good luck.
The first
Yeah,
time I met
yeah.
Chad, I was sitting there. I'm like, oh, I'm a Toyota guy. Actually, I had my Toyota for that event. We're sitting there, we're talking. What motor you got? What motor you got? He's, oh, I got the V6. Sweet, you got the 3.4. No, I got the 3.0. Oh,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How many head gaskets you on?
Yeah. How's that?
What's
been
your
for you?
what's your Forerunner? Is that the V8 one?
No. They didn't make a V8 4Runner, unfortunately. Not in the United States, anyhow. Maybe in Japan.
So that's
Australia.
what, 3.4?
3.4. It's 250,000 miles. Almost there. About 400 miles to go. And we're right there.
Right there.
Right there. She can do it.
Yeah.
And my truck's got 170 on it, and I beat the ever-loving piss out of that thing more than once. With Jake,
She
actually,
loved
the first time I met your brother, we went beat on.
Right.
Well, he beat on his Gambler, I beat on my daily.
It was great.
Oh yeah, he's like, oh, you're a Gambler for sure.
Yeah.
Now you need a cheap vehicle.
Yeah. This is how we roll. Yeah.
Initiated him with some trail striping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tom busted out his taillights.
Not the first time taillights have been lost out there.
Yeah.
So you've been traveling a lot lately. When was the last time you were on the show?
Last time I was on the trail.
Here on the show.
On
Here.
the show
Sitting
here?
at this table at this
I
show.
don't even know. Episode 4, season 1.
I wanna
Whenever
say,
that was.
I don't know.
It was cold out.
Yeah, it was cold as fuck.
Was it pre Frozen Nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think
Kevin
so.
was here too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you haven't been since Frozen Nuts. Fair to
No.
say.
Mm,
And how many Gamblers have you done since Frozen
maybe
Nuts?
I have been, because I did have the scar on my head. So yeah. It was after Frozen Nuts.
Okay, so it's after Frozen
yeah,
Nuts.
We're,
Sorry,
we're,
so-
we're
so-
getting this down.
So since Frozen Nuts, how many
Yeah.
Gamblers have you been to?
Whew. Two new gamblers, both international, technically. We did Matthew Wands and I did the Ontario. It was fucking sweet.
I was crossing the border in a Gambler.
That was great. So we went to the border. You know, they were a little paranoid about like knowing about the event stuff. Apparently, it's like all that shit's like highly restricted there, and they weren't sure how it was gonna go over.
Fucking Canada.
Fucking Canada, yeah, and apparently Quebec is like the worst. Like they're above and beyond everybody else. So they just said, don't tell anyone why you're coming across. Like, don't tell them you're coming for the Gambler, you know. So we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go camping. Like we're there to camp, and of course it's French Canadian, so the fucking name of the place was like La
Liga.
You should have pulled the Super
Yeah.
Troopers line. We're going for some French fries and gravy.
The French guys are great. Yeah. So next time Juan said we're gonna say we're on our honeymoon, we're gonna make up, and we'll be invited right in.
They would
But-
definitely believe you too.
Yeah. But instead, we went with we're going camping, and then moments before we get there, Juan's is like, "What's the place we're going to?" I'm like, I don't know. And then I go to like look on my phone, no fucking data coverage at all. We pulling up to the fucking border crossing, and the guy's like, "What are you here for?" Matt's like, we're going camping, and they're like, all right, where are you going? We're like,
I can't pronounce the name.
some campsite that's out near this city, and he's like, all right, so what are you gonna do? And we're like, we're camping. Yeah. And then he asked us another question, and he was like, what's the restaurant? We're like, we're supposed to meet some friends, and they're like, well, what place are you gonna go to? And I'm like, La Potato? I'm like, that's all I remember. Who knows what it was even called, but it wasn't La Potato. And he's like, all right, well, how about you guys just pull over in the carport over here? And he goes, it's normal just for you guys coming across the border.
So they
New-
pull you,
Meanwhile, everyone else is just going right through
Right
next
through,
to you.
yeah.
did they
Yeah.
pull you out of the car?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah,
they pull
okay.
us into the
So
little carport thing.
You got
and
brought
they
into
have-
the building then.
Oh, yeah, into the building.
Okay.
Yeah. So we get into the building. We
You,
don't know
you
what
sound
we're
like you've
supposed
done this with experience. What
Yeah.
do you?
He's just theoretically, he thinks that maybe that's what they do.
You're right.
At
That
the crossing.
makes sense.
Yeah.
It's obvious that
Yeah.
we do, of course.
So then we get
Of
into
course.
the building, and like we don't know what we're supposed to do. There's a counter up there. We're like, go up the counter. We're like, hey, yeah, they told us to pull in. Here's the slip they give us, the pink slip. They're like, oh, just take a seat. And then all of a sudden, 2 officers come out. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go be searching your vehicle. Has it got anything sharp in it? Juan's is just like a chainsaw.
The holes in the floor.
yeah. All the rust. Yeah. Jay, have you had your tetanus shot? And then they're like, okay. And then they go out. And then like 15 minutes later, they come back in. They're like, so, our dog hit on your vehicle. Is there anything going on in there? We're like, no, there shouldn't be. But you
Shouldn't
one
be.
of them, yeah, it shouldn't be. As long as everyone did their job, you know. But then we're like, all right, just go ahead and search it. Meanwhile, Juan's just freaking out, like, you motherfucker, this, you know. 2 seconds later, he comes back in. He's like, all right, you're good to go. And then he's like, he walks us out.
The dog never hit. They were just fucking with you guys, you Americans.
Yeah, totally, yeah, something.
See if you break.
Yeah, so we get out there, and he's like, so, some piece you got there. And then second thing was, it's going to make it. And we're like, well, we'll see. And he's like, good luck, you know. Coming back through.
Don't leave it in Canada.
Yeah. Coming back through, fine.
Yeah, wait, I got.
But then we get it there, and like all the Canadians, you know, it looks fine from a distance.
Right.
You know, as soon as you get under, like I didn't even look under it until Saturday night when he was starting to have a little bit of suspension issues. We were having the tire rub. I get underneath there, and I was like, I need to go get my camera right now. Like, at one point, he was like, are you sleeping under there? I was like, no, just documenting. Like,
this is how I died.
Yeah. And then afterwards, he was like, dude, you're making me sad. He goes, I look at it all the time, but it was different seeing it on the internet. And then the Canadians were just like, how did you get this thing through the border? Like, that nothing's allowed. Everything's got to be original, you know? They can't have tire sizes any like one size larger than factory. They have to have factory exhaust.
Must have been that Vermont plate.
Yeah, definitely not Vermont plates, and you know. But the roads were crazy. They were fun. They don't. Obviously, they have much more expensive rigs, so they didn't send it as hard as New York. I feel like we're there to break shit.
How dare they call themselves gamblers?
I know, but they had sweet SDIs and the sickest fucking Subaru lifts I've seen. Like these things, they're doing like
legit lifts.
They're doing like hat lifts, suspension drops, and then tire lifts. So they're getting 14 inches of fucking lift out of these Subarus. These things look like they're on fucking stilts and shit.
Little CVs can handle that.
Fuck? No, I think they're doing. Forget me. I think they're doing like some kind of either different shaft or some kind of something to make it legit. Should be, from what I understood, that they're not doing any extra camber damage on their tires.
Nice.
But they do look a little
squatty.
Yeah.
Good suspension should be a little squatty.
Yeah.
Gotta have the drop before you catch.
Yeah. Then, moving on to Iceland. Yeah.
Iceland this summer.
Yeah. So, it all started with the Sunday inspirational.
Why did you decide to go to Iceland? Like, when and why?
So, on Sunday inspirational, the Gambler 500 puts out the inspirational builds. The Cube was in it, the original Cube, and that got shared with Cube Iceland. And then someone tagged me in it and was like, hey, your car's international. And then all of a sudden I was like, they're calling me out. Now I have to go.
Yeah.
And then circumstances changed to where I could go. So I was like, I am going. And then I went and it was fucking amazeballs. So,
you left a little piece of New York behind on that pole too. I noticed.
Yeah, definitely. Try to, do my part and represent New York State. You know.
So tell us about like. You obviously
I don't even know.
didn't bring.
Why am I even here today? If you were just gonna handle the show.
Well, you didn't bring your gambler.
No, so I was one of the few Americans that didn't buy a gambler there. The original intent was I was going to go there, ride with one of the Icelandic teams, which I probably could have done, definitely could have done, but it was just like I was one of the first Americans that showed up, the second American that showed up. Days before any of the other guys showed up. I knew none of the other people. They're all West Coast guys. Like, eventually I was like, wait, I know your car from internet videos kind of deal. But immediately I show up. The day I get there, my flight got a little delayed. As soon as I got there, they were like, hop on the ride. We're heading out to Selfoss to get one of the other gamblers. Fucking rode 2.5 hours out. You know, just baggage still in the back, haven't fucking done anything, had a beer when I got
10 steps on the Icelandic soil and then into a car and off you go.
Yeah, we were halfway out there, and then Baxter, the Suzu fucking rodeo, the Icelandic moon tires, I see the American guy from Washington, he's fucking Nate, he goes to fucking, I see him like fishing for gears, I'm like, what's going on over there? And all of a sudden we're losing speed. And he's like, I think the clutch is gone. We're like, oh shit, so we pull over, we're not even to South Lost yet, get out, fucking, he's like, I don't know, he's like, I feel the gears, like, and I get on there, you can see the fucking drive shaft still turning and shit. He's like, I think the rear end's gone. He's like, so we fucking put it in 4-wheel. Sure enough,
That end kicked out.
rear end was gone. We eventually get it to a guy, one of the Icelandic guys' shop to fucking get it apart, and the drive shaft literally just sheared right at the hub, like that far inside the hub, just straight shear off.
The spline just came off essentially.
Yep. So we took it apart. Well, first we put in fucking 4-wheel, drove it essentially in 2-wheel drive mode. Get to Selfos, get fucking what I call the Myth Clio, a little gold Clio. Fuck, I don't know what year it was. It was hilarious. So the key for this bitch was literally the chip that was supposed to be in the key. Mm-hmm. You had to get it out of the ashtray, hold it up near the fucking and then there was like a light switch on the right hand side. When the light turned red in the dashboard, you can turn the light switch on and hit the start button and it'll start up. If that combination wasn't achieved, you were not starting this thing at all.
Anti-theft device.
It's
Right.
anti-theft. Yeah.
Even a thief couldn't figure that out.
So we fire this bitch
Light
up,
switch.
and they're like, all right, well, you drive that. I followed Baxter all the way to this fucking Icelandic guy's shop, A&R, super cool dog.
Was it a stolen car? I mean, it had a light switch.
No, wait. First we went to
without a key.
No, first.
I mean,
So I drove it with no license plate at all to a shop.
so you're in a foreign country.
Yeah,
have
yeah,
no
yeah.
idea of their laws,
Just get
or you're like
Yeah.
you could go to prison for 10 years. You have no idea,
Nothing,
but you're like, yeah, I'll
Show
drive.
up, hell yeah, where do you need me to go?
Where we
Standard,
going?
yeah.
This is cool. Okay,
yeah, I'll
let's go.
follow you. Yeah. So
It's good to hang out with some gangsters.
Yeah.
Everybody had you doing some gangster
we
shit.
get to this, like, it's literally like a shop with a giant blue door, and it says, I don't even know, something in Icelandic in the corner.
How many drugs are in the trunk?
No.
Or guns?
Yeah, none that I know of. I didn't check. So there's like this weird, looks like a dyno test thing off to the side. I think it was something to do with missions. The host that got it going, Zareen, she went inside, just came out with license plates. Apparently, like, they hold on to the license.
Like they print them in the back?
No, they hold on to the plates. Like, if you're...
It's in your name forever?
Not... I don't know how it worked, but somehow they hold on to the plates. As long as you have one of them, I think, you'll get the plates back. I don't know what. We're like, oh yeah, here's the plates, put them on. All right, we got the wrong bolts, let's put them on and let's go. Then we go to the shop to fix the fucking car, tear it apart. Realized that as soon as we tear the axle out of there, that was the only thing that was keeping that wheel from fucking, So we had to leave it in this shop. By this point, it was just...
Are you day of gambler yet, or...?
No, not even close. Yeah, we were only 2 Americans, and Zareen lives in Iceland and is in San Francisco, so she was like there setting up and getting everything going. Was the organizer of the event. Kind enough to let me sleep on her couch the first night and the floor until Friday when we started gambling. So it was totally legit.
What day did you fly in?
I flew in Tuesday, got there at 12, did not start sleeping until, I think, 5 a.m. the next day. Got like 3 hours worth of sleep.
Like Thursday or like...
So Wednesday
What's
morning.
the time difference between Iceland
4 hours different. So 4 hours
That's not
behind ours. Yeah.
Wouldn't they, wait, were they, so they're, are they, aren't they ahead if you're going east?
Or had, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so if it was...
So 6 a.m. here is 2 a.m. there?
Yeah.
I think so.
Cool.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. So, that was like intro. Was totally down with that.
24 hours of daylight, too.
Yeah, 24 hours daylight, so that was awesome. Like wearing sunglasses
Arctic
until 1
Circle.
a.m. Yeah.
So you
Day
can leave
2
that
got
door
into just getting the other gamblers. First thing, I was supposed to get up in the morning, go pick up some Americans at the airport. Never met him before. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is blah blah blah's car. This is blah blah blah's car." I'm just like telling him where he needs to drive. I have no idea, you know. And we end up going, or I was supposed to go to the airport the next morning, but by this time I'd done like 3-4 hours worth of sleep. You know, I never downloaded the offline map, so I'm like, I don't even know how to get to the fucking airport. You know, I'm like, so I was like concerned about even getting back to the apartment I came from, so I took pictures of like the door.
And the address.
The door didn't even have like numbers on it at all. I'm like, I know it's on the 3rd floor. It's the farthest right hand door. Like,
blue or purple
it's blue,
or something like
exactly,
that.
And then I was like, all right, we're just running it. So I get there. I'm like, I don't even know. I was one of the few that didn't have like full cell phone coverage. I only had Wi-Fi only. So it was like, I got somewhere.
Who's your provider?
AT&T, which I could have got the international plan, but it's $10 a day. I was like, fuck that. I'll be with a bunch of other people. And I heard it's like once you're out in them sticks area, you're not getting anything anyway. So it's like, what are you even spending the money for? So I get there, eventually find the other Americans. There ended up being Bobby and his wife, and then another husband-wife. We got into 2 different cars at this point. The one other kid that was there first, he had a Toyota like station wagon thing. That was at Zareen's house. He rode that to the airport from his hostel, which was in downtown Reykjavik. I was going there to meet him, had no cell phone coverage. I see him leaving. He had already picked up one of the Americans there. Leaving, I don't even know where he was going. I tried fucking honking at him. Of course, he didn't hear me. So then I get the other people. He ends up eventually meeting back up with us. We all get in the car. Not even 2 seconds later, we go to pull out of the fucking airport parking lot. I seen the Icelandic police there. I'm like, you go ahead. And they're like, you go ahead. And then the other guy's like, yeah, they're going to pull us over. And I was like, yeah, isn't that funny? No, as soon as he says that, boop, 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 here comes the lights. I'm like, all right, here we go. Pull us over. The only thing I was told was the studded snows were highly illegal. Apparently, we pay per tire.
Ooh.
And it's more expensive than buying a whole new tire, like the fee that you're going to pay. So the cops come up and they're just like, first of all, and I'm like, your headlights aren't on. I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Like,
Apparently you got to have your headlights on at all times. They're
okay.
a safety issue.
Cool. Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Whatever. Yeah.
I do it
cool.
too. Yeah.
I'm good with that.
I do it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, forgot. You know. And then I see her like peek down at the studded snows. I'm like, oh, here we go. All I was told. Heading to Reykjavik. We're getting them changed. That's all I know. Didn't even ask about that. She's like, so, whose car? I was like, a friend's. Super vague at this point.
Yeah,
At
the
all
least you
points.
say the better.
Because you don't know their name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to be super vague.
Yeah. And then she's like, where are you going? Oh, I'm just picking these guys up from the airport, blah, blah, blah. Anything to drink? I'm like, no. At this point, I can smell the booze permeating out of the people I just picked up from the airport. They had been just pounding whiskey the whole entire fucking flight. And I was like, nope, just coffee. You know, held up my coffee, and she's like, all right, go on, have a good day, drive safe, or whatever it was. She didn't want to deal with that,
Nice.
you know. Yeah. So that was the first experience with the police. At least my only experience with the police.
Do you think the gambler is welcomed by the Icelandic police?
I think so. I think they eventually were like, all right, they're not like crazy or anything, but they're just very skeptical people that you're gonna like destroy the landscape. So we did very little damage, as minimal damage, repaired anything we could, picked up any trash. Because
We as gamblers, we have to try to stop sharing so many videos of the assholery and start sharing all the videos of the good stuff that we do.
Yeah.
Because we do kind of have like that bad image, and we're just gonna go in and fuck shit up and bury our cars in the mud. Well, that's like 1% of what we do.
Right.
Yeah, dudes didn't really understand. You know, for the Icelandic community, didn't understand what we did, and that was the organizer's biggest thing, was trying to make sure that everyone understood we're not out there to race. This isn't rallycross. You know, we just go and have a good time with a bunch of fucking shit bills, shit boxes. And, you know,
So
that was about it.
we have a lot of freedom in New York what we can do to our vehicles before the cops really decide they want to say, no, that's not safe. Is that the same way in Iceland?
No. No. Generally, no one did anything crazy. So, but
So you're saying no, like
There's no like random bars hanging off the cars.
No.
there's
we
no
didn't do
there's
anything
no
like that.
antler strapped
Yeah.
to brush guards that don't fit the vehicle, kind of.
No. One guy had a shovel on his roof, coming out of his roof. But other than
ratchet
that,
strap down, or
I don't even know how. It was one of the Icelandic guys. It was like a Mitsubishi. Everything
So, like,
they have there
do they cut
is
wheel
like
wells?
4-wheel drive version. No wheel well cuts.
no wheel well cuts at all.
No, pretty much factory vehicles with skid plates sent out into these highlands. Then the highlands are literally like the fucking Martian desert. You have no idea. Everywhere you look, you're like, this is how is this even an occurrence? Let alone like, am I here?
Well, it's like black sand, right?
Black sand, lava,
Volcanic dust.
volcanic dust, and all these the sulfur, blue lagoons is all the sulfur areas, and then there's just like there's fucking glaciers off to the right, mud springs over here, hot springs.
You take a bath in the hot spring.
Yeah, we did a hot spring. Second night, I think we were there. We went out. It was like by this time, fucking 3:00 in the morning. By the time we got out of there, way the hell out.
Still sunny.
Still sunny. Yeah, it was like maybe 9:00 dark around here, and that was the most you got. We went on to this where the 90% of their whole power is from geothermal. The rest is solar or wind. And so the geothermal came out with these giant pipes and expelled out into the ocean at a certain point. And there was this like little cove thing that came off to the side, and like we hung out in there, and it was fucking nuts. I mean, the sulfur smell.
Let's say it's good for you.
Yeah, it's good for you. Yeah, just don't drink it.
Saratoga Springs is built on a sulfur mine.
But it was definitely sick. I went over to go check out the actual where the pipes came out, and I got yelled at. They're like, "You'll die!" I was like, "Man,
It's acid water."
I understand. It looks pretty fucking hot.
What was your favorite moment from being over in Iceland?
Favorite moment? The whole fucking thing was nuts. I can't even think of a favorite moment. I don't know. I think maybe the day we started gambling, the day we got out, met up at camp. But no, it was probably day 2. So day 2, we had a crazy night. Got up 6 a.m. Group went out. We had a lot of fucking problems that happened immediately. We had someone with a gas tank. So the very last thing I brought before I left, I was like, I look over, I see a ratchet strap. I was like, I've never been to a fucking gambler. I haven't needed a ratchet strap. So I fucking brought the ratchet strap with me. Sure enough, we used it on 3 or 4 different gas tanks, holding these bitches up. Day 2, this guy's fucking gas tank just would not stay up. He had like a Toyota minivan. I don't even know what it was. Previa.
The Previa,
Yeah. And every 2 minutes, that fucker was dropping down, and then it would kink the lines, and then eventually
stall it out.
Yeah, stall it out.
And then break the lines.
We got it down. At one point, I was doing the navigating, and I didn't download all the offline maps, so it was like I had most of it, and I got out to the edge of like where I had coverage, and all of a sudden they're like, we're like, we feel like it's this way, let's just go down here, and we see this sign that says like, warning, floodgates can release at any moment. And we're just like, let's head down into this embankment, like where the floodwater could fucking,
At any moment.
At any moment. So we get down there with a RAV4, a fucking VW Polo, which is like the Golf, and the Toyota minivan. As soon as we get down there, it's like fucking, river rock, of fucking, soft river rock with water right below the surface. So the minivan starts digging in. So we go to hook it up, pull it out with the fucking RAV4, all-wheel drive, blows his fucking serpentine belt. So we're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, 2-step vehicles in the bottom of the area that could flood at any time.
At any time, no warning. Yeah.
At any moment.
Any moment, yeah.
Good spot to hang out.
So, CJ, with the RAV4, he ends up fucking, the owner of the trophy mutt, he ends up fucking breaking the one idler pulley off in order to hook up fucking a bunch of rainbow colored fucking.
I
zip
saw
ties.
that online.
So rainbow colored zip ties with the water pump running in reverse, and then we were just swapping out the battery with I think it was a RAV4 had the same exact battery, so we could just swap it, and we got a fucking pretty good distance. It was actually the day 2 or I guess day 3 we tried switching to like HVAC ones, larger ones, and they worked not as good. So something about them little rainbow colored ones, they had a little more flex to
Little
them.
zip ties.
I don't know what it was, yeah, but they worked nice. But by the time we got back to camp, I mean, we at 6 a.m. to fucking. I think we got at camp at 4:30 in the morning because we ended up driving them back to the last known gas station, which was also a motel, and they were like, yeah, we're checking in here, we're not going any farther. So we left the Polo behind there because we'd already heard that the Bora, which is like a Jetta, had to get towed into camp because it was just super fine, like fucking asteroid sand. So we decided to leave the Polo behind, and I take a picture of a cop like right next to the Polo the night before. So we get down there. It's like fucking 4 o'clock in the morning. Literally, I took a picture of my thing 4:36 in the morning. At this time, it's been like 18 hours of gambling. 100 and something miles at 18 hours.
Right.
You know, like just like nonstop, something going on. Of course, we get down there, we start ripping through the beach and shit. You couldn't stop in the beach, you know. You didn't want to stop in it because you weren't just starting
yeah.
it.
Yeah, one
So-
wave you're gone, right?
yeah. So we took a couple rips around, see where we wanted to set up camp first. And we came around, the guy in the Bora was out there like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're like, woo! Yeah. Just glad to be here. Come around the next corner, there's a fucking mound of rocks. There's just a dude, it's like misty fucking rain and shit. He's just sleeping in a sleeping bag next to the mound of rocks and shit. We're like, great, yeah. But crash out, next morning, roll out of there. They had to tow a bunch of the vehicles out. The mini bike crew had a Land Rover that they rented. Ended up fucking blowing an axle out on the trail.
No way.
Just snapped right at the weld. And then the rental company's like, you were abusing it and stuff. No, it's supposed to be a Martian fucking landing mobile.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be able to handle this shit. So, the Dodge Sprinter, that had to be towed all the way out. The Bora had to be towed out, and actually blew tires on the way out, and they had no way to change it. They had spare tires, but ended up being the wrong size. So they had to ride it as long as they could with just a flat tire, you know. By this point, I think we were already back at the gas station, rolled out from there. I mean, the whole landscape and everything was fucking nuts. The cars we were riding in, the whole thing was great. Wouldn't have taken anything back other than like the day I went back.
And getting pulled over the one time we got pulled
Nah, it was fun.
over.
Yeah, wouldn't have take that back either. Shit was expensive as hell. 10-pack of beer, $38.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Don't drink, huh?
Bought a small bottle of vodka for a friend. It was $55. Yeah.
Oh my
But-
god.
Otherwise, like, it was a cheap trip because I literally slept on someone's couch and floor, you know, and then just went out into the fucking landscape and
Slept
in
on
it.
the landscape.
Yeah. So, I know other people spend a lot of money, but I was not one of those, and I had an amazing time. So,
BYOB.
you can only bring in 18, and you have to have it on your checked baggage. And your checked baggage will cost you $60 a bag. So
The 18 racks probably like all
Yeah.
the weight that the bag could handle.
So I tried bringing in a couple 14 percenters, and $16 a piece, but I brought them in carry-on, and they got me at TSA and Hancock. We're like, no, you're coughing them up. They're like, you want to drink them? Bring them back to your check baggage.
Challenge accepted. Glug 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 glug.
They're already like, where do you get these from? Oh, these are limited edition. Oh. I'm like, as long as you guys are gonna like enjoy these and not just gonna dump them out, I'll accept that. Cause like, all I had was a soft duffel bag. If I put it in that, I would just be wearing fucking
Beer, yeah.
beer
Imperial
smelling
Stout
clothes.
and shredded glass shards the whole
Yeah.
entire time I was in Iceland.
It
So.
makes for a nice deodorant.
Yeah. That was when I didn't bring deodorant immediately. I was like, show me for the store. I need fucking deodorant. I tried the spray shit because all the Europeans always use spray or that fucking like 1970s roll shit. I was like,
Doesn't work.
You gotta
Doesn't
go.
cut it.
You gotta need the American grade.
American grade. We smell harder.
Yeah, something. I don't know what it is. But.
So, Scott, Gambler 100 got any...
Still soon.
Gambler 100 is like 26 days away. August 24th, 23rd and 24th.
Get on your bikes and ride.
Bring your gamblers too.
Yeah.
Not just the bikes, bring the gamblers too. Friday night, we're going to get everybody signed up, get registered, get waivers signed, camp set up. And then about as soon as it turns after dark, we're going to go for a ride on some state land. And there's some mud holes and people will probably get stuck and things may break and good stuff.
Yeah.
And Saturday, we'll break off in the morning. We'll start riding the trail. Bring a lawnmower, mini bike, go-kart. What else fun? Wheelchairs, power wheelchair. What
Hover around.
A hover round, yeah.
If it's got a motor in it and it's not a
hovercraft.
car, bring it.
Hovercraft, UFO. Yeah.
If you
Whatever you got.
Not till after September.
Yeah, not till after September.
That'll have all the
Hoverboard, maybe.
If you don't- if you don't own one, steal one. I don't care. Show up.
Yeah.
Just don't
We
let us
don't-
know it's stolen.
we're not
We're
asking
not
questions.
taking responsibility
Yeah.
for anybody.
What? Who? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But there's gonna be I don't know, a bunch of people, a good trail cut. I was up there all day clearing out some open space, getting it leveled off, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. It's gonna be a mud pit, a rock wall, open trail, wood trails, closed trails. I mean, it's if you have ever heard,
we got them all.
if you ever heard of a hare scramble, it's gonna be that for many bikes. I brought Jake up a few weekends ago. We did some laps, and I tell you, one lap will make you tired.
So get ready for 100.
You know, if you can do 100,
Yeah, you get a medal for
I'll
that.
salute you, right?
Yeah.
As far as camping's available. We got 30 acres. You can find any spot you want. Bring as big as a tent as you want, but it's a challenge finding a flat spot. It's all a hillside, so if you got hammocks, that's the way to go.
So I'm bringing my hammock. That's for damn sure if that's the case.
Saturday, I got live music by Chris Merkley, a local guy out of Cortland.
So there is power up there then.
There'll be generators.
Oh, okay. So he's gonna be running through generators and his amps and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
What about bathrooms?
Poor Johns, get used to it.
We're gamblers, man. As long as I got toilet paper, I'm looking at you, Tyler. So yeah, I mean, you know, you just announced a bunch of the like trophies and whatnot.
Honorable mentions.
Yeah, honorable mentions. Like you said, it's not really going to be a race.
Oh, it can't. It's not a race. It's
having a good time.
It's about having a good time, getting with your gambler friends. We're gonna go on mini bikes and do something a little different. I expect shenanigans and hoodlum activity, of course.
Of course.
Don't burn down the woods, and we're pretty good to go.
Yeah, other than that.
Only fireballs are allowed at camp, not on the trail.
Or off the exhaust pipes.
Yeah.
That's encouraged too.
Yeah. At camp though.
Yeah, at camp.
At camp though. I know Tyler's what he was building with his ATV blonde turbocharged lawnmower shopping cart fiasco.
Yeah, it'll be great.
I can't wait to see what he finishes building with that. It's gonna be badass.
Great things we expect.
Yeah.
A four-wheeler front end on a shopping cart with a lawnmower, turbocharged lawnmower.
I don't know how you could go wrong, but it sounds like good stuff to me.
Plenty of ways to go wrong.
He's basically riding around in a roll cage, so.
Yeah. Safety first.
Helmets required.
Yeah.
Bring a helmet. Closed-toe shoes. Don't fuck around. My goal is nobody gets hurt unless you get drunk and fall down, and then that's
in which
your
case
fault.
you're on your own. Yeah.
That's your fault.
Crocs are for camp.
No Crocs. We're in the deep woods. You don't want Crocs. I promise.
Show up with Crocs, you're just gonna get turned away.
Yeah, I guess I'll just tell my horrible story then. So,
Yes, please.
Alec Lindgren, you all know him from the guy that burned his Bronco down on the trail in Maryland. Haha,
Maine.
poke at you. Or Maryland, yeah, Maine, whatever,
Yeah.
same thing, both of them with an M. He's got some property out in Scottsville, and he's got some really tall grass. Like good 4 foot tall grass and weeds in his backyard. And I've only got one headlight, and the one headlight is shorter than the grass line is. And I had a few. Let's just leave it at that.
I mean, what could go wrong?
Yeah, and they had like $6,000 worth of fireworks they were setting off, which was, by the way, one of the best fireworks shows I've ever seen. It went for like 45 minutes, and so I go to turn around up there and through all this tall grass, and then the next thing I know, I feel like I hit something, and then I go to put the van in reverse, nothing. Put it in drive, nothing, and I can feel that the tires are moving and everything's going, and I look down and I'm on a stack of pallets. I totally beached the van on probably like 3 dozen pallets, I'd say.
Nice.
And I mean, the van itself sits like a good 16 inches up probably almost, and the back end was lifted up probably about 5. So, whoops, we ended up towing it out the next morning with his buddy's 7.3 Power Stroke. That's a badass truck. It's really nice. He'll never bring that to the Gambler. It's just too damn nice. But we definitely had to give it a really good yank. And even with me on the pallet, still, hitting reverse and driving it, trying to get it out, we still had to give it a pretty damn good yank. But with Alec's property, though, I know he was talking, he's possibly maybe doing a frozen nuts. He wants to get some kind of excavator out there or something. He's got a mud pit up there already,
Nice.
so he wants to dig it out a little more, put a couple obstacles up there, and I know that he was saying maybe a little bit of frozen nuts up there this year, maybe,
Yeah.
or somewhere in the area. But yeah, I beached my van on pallets.
Great.
In the middle of an open field.
Yeah, in the middle of open field. It wasn't
the only thing you
it's
had
an open
grass
field
line,
with really
the
tall
grass line.
grass.
The only thing you had to hit were the pallets, all right?
Yeah, it's the only thing in the
and the
field. The
grass,
only
yeah.
thing in the field were the pallets and the mud pit.
Yeah.
And I found the pallets.
Yeah.
I found them hard.
That's actually
The
quite
pallets
impressive.
found you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And then they took my keys.
Yeah.
No surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but, yeah, I mean, don't drive your vehicles through pallets because you're not coming out of them.
I mean, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
But
Not a stack or a
Yeah.
pile of them.
yeah.
My whole question to him was, why hadn't he set them on fire yet? Like, they should have been burned down before I ran them over.
No, because then you would have just hit a pile of nails.
Yeah, but I don't think I would have gotten stuck in the nails anyway. I would have
yeah,
just gotten a
still
couple
have
flies.
tires.
I mean, the van itself's already running on. I mean, if you go look at the front tires, the fucking fabric showing on the damn things. They keep saying, like, we need new tires. Like,
Nah, you're good.
I'm not waiting for you to crash and flip
Yeah.
the van.
This is on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times though.
Yeah.
Chad. So let's hear about your derby story last night.
It was a good
Chad
time.
drives demo derby and builds.
Helped my buddy build a car for Yates County, which is next county down, and he ran it there, had some bad luck, ripped a wheel off it, went out in the consi, parked the guy that ripped the wheel off of it repeatedly, and brought the car back to the house, and he's like, the front end hasn't moved, I want to try to piece it back together and bring it to Ontario, see if I can qualify with it there. So he goes on vacation, his brother and another friend of ours basically pushes the strut back under on the rear, welds the chain to it, welds it to the frame, whole bunch of fix-it plates. It moves, the wheel just kind of rocked back and forth. And,
A little bit of death wobble.
Sounds legit.
could have thrown a spare on it and gambled it. Brings it out in his first heat last night and got Mad Dog with it and qualified for the feature. And he was like, alright, I've got the fresh car. I got to run 2 minutes in the next heat, and I'll be in the feature with the good car. So he talked to an official, and he was like, what do I got to do to get that other car back out there with Chad driving it? And he was like, all he's got to do is go over and register it in his name. Sure, I'll spend the $35 to put the car in. Brought it back over to the pits, because we wanted to fix it before I wasted $35. Lifted it up, because that wheel basically ripped off the frame, ripped off the body again. Didn't bring anything with us to fix it. We brought the welder, but we didn't bring any extra steel or any chain or anything
Yeah, it's
at
optional,
all.
you know.
usually we bring that stuff. We just forgot to. We get over there and it's like, what do we have? Just grab a 3-inch ratchet strap and put the struts together and just pull them under the car. Good concept. Pulled them back under the car. I went over, registered, came back over, jumped in the car, drove it 5 feet and the wheel pulled right back out from under the car.
Nice.
So I was like, you know what? I spent the money. I'm going out. I don't care if I make one hit and it dies. Drive it over to the staging area for the last chance qualifier with the boat anchor basically dragging behind me. So if you wanted to follow me, it would have been a real nice trail because it was just a perfect little gully I was dragging all the way through the pits.
Tracer line.
Pretty much. Get out there. Limp it onto the track. I was like, alright, the mud, it moves a little easier. Get up to the wall. Sitting there letting it idle. Starts steaming. Starts pissing water out. Getting really hot. And I was like, this is not good.
Classic signs.
Yep.
Been here before.
They started the last chance qualifier. I backed off the line. I was like, oh, this is actually going to move quite easily. Throw it into gear. Floor it. Rolls about 3 foot forward and then just stops. Backed it up. Moved easily. Pulled forward. Stops. I was like, did I really just spend $35 to sit here and just rock this thing back and forth? Finally got it to kind of hop along. Made it all the way through. Ended up winning the qualifier. Pulled back over to the line. Made it to 5th or 6th in the feature. About 2 minutes in, there was a caution, and I was like, nobody's on fire. EMS isn't rushing the track. What the hell happened? Didn't think anything of it. By the time I was done, I was basically looking up into the air. Well, the passenger rear wheel had ripped off the same way the driver's rear wheel did. Driver's rear wheel was at the far end of the track because the officials had to drag it off. So I get out and I was like, oh, I'm missing a wheel. I get around to the other side and the strut, like the rubber part of the top of the strut was all that was holding it in. I was like, well, I had fun.
At least you only lost one wheel, technically. You had the
Yeah,
other
good
one in the
option.
car still.
They're just there to help
Yeah.
stabilize.
I was just surprised at how good that car ran because we ran it with no water down at Yates and there isn't a ring left in that motor. So we put 3 quarts of Lucas oil treatment in it and a little bit of oil. Didn't hardly smoke until I got it boiling hot again. And then I shut it off and it started dieseling and I was like, alright, I'll just let it do its thing. Like from the doors forward, I could run the car 4 more times. Nothing's bent, nothing moved. Doors back, completely gone. Like it's bellied out, the body started to rip around the cage and
No strut mounts or any rear orifice at all.
the trunk's basically in the back seat. Good time.
I saw that one video online of it looked like you're limping around with no tires on your car, and then it looked like there was some guy trying to chase you, and it looked like you were like running from him, and then you like gently tapped this other car, and then he came over and fucking nailed it. You guys were like tag teaming some stuff, and your car could barely move.
Yeah, there was 2 or 3 other people out there I knew that they were like, I won't hit you until you hit me, and worked together a little bit, got down to the end, and I just started hitting everybody I saw still moving.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
It's
2 years in a row I made the feature and finished in the same fucking spot both years. At least this car could still drive off the track.
always the
somewhere.
bridesmaid, never the bride.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the guy who qualified the car, Jamie, he won.
That's why I gave you the other car, though.
He was like, it'll still go if you want to run it. And I was like, damn right I want to run it.
It's getting to be crunch time here. I was telling him earlier, the posting's been pretty dead lately with everyone in their builds, but I know that since we're getting up here to the last like month and a half, and this is gambler build time.
Yeah.
No one builds or buys anything until there's like, oh shit, there's only
Oh,
like 30
fuck,
days
yeah.
left.
And
So
Get on this.
Unless it's CJ. He bought a Jeep the day before. And just, okay, I'm going to send this.
Right.
You know anything about it? It's a
No.
red Jeep.
Yep.
Pretty good.
That's what you do.
yeah,
And
but
that thing lasted pretty good.
I'm getting excited to see what people are going to concoct
Yeah.
or whip up. Like I really want to see what you're going to do to the Yaris. I mean, just a Yaris itself being anything off-road is going to be badass because they're so fucking tiny. You're basically riding a go-kart around.
It's basically just a little
Enough momentum, you'll get anywhere you
same
want.
wheelbase.
Yeah.
The approach angle and the departure angle is pretty sweet.
Yeah, you're like rolling a side-by-side through the woods, basically. It's gonna be interesting to see what you get yourself into with that. And they're light, too, so...
Yeah, we're all expecting a Yaris build. He's gonna show up with the new fucking bucket. It's got a fresh clutch.
This guy shows up today towing the Saab, or the Coupe 2.0
Yeah.
with the future Coupe 3.0.
I got it. Yeah. We're good.
It's a sob story.
Yeah. Run 70 miles an hour on the highway, good.
Yeah, those half-inch bolts through 16th inch metal, that's great.
Yeah, that's great.
No problem.
Pass a couple people on the way, Just driving too slow.
There's probably 6 or 8 pounds of weld in that front end.
I know, at least. Gas weld, too.
And you literally welded the word turbo onto the bumper, so...
Yeah, I wanted to make sure,
Yeah, everyone knows it's got a turbo
If you
in
don't
it.
hear it, it's still there.
Yeah. Just in case you missed it.
Any other good points here? I don't know, don't be a dick. Drive responsibly. Get muddy.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Gary 100, August 23rd and 24th.
Yeah.
Bring your mini bikes. We're going to have a good time.
Look for it on Facebook. There's an event page for it.
An event page, there's an actual page.
Yeah.
We're hitting big. Everyone's loving us. Good videos, good time.
Badass logo and poster.
Yeah, some asshole designed a good poster and an awesome logo.
Yeah, fuckers.
While he was gambling in Iceland.
Yeah,
I don't know how
dude,
all
it's
this
great.
happens, but anyway.
It took me that little bit of extra time in Iceland to develop the supercharger.
Yeah, you got to get the blower on there.
Yeah, that was a key essential. So now we're sitting pretty. Just gotta show up, bring them rides, run what you brung.
So yeah, I mean we probably ran about 2 hours or so.
That concludes show number.
Yeah.
Episode number.
Season
8.
2.
Season 2, episode number 26.
Yeah.
97.
It was episode 26.
This is my 5th show. I have no idea.
Yeah, they all just blend together.
I have no idea what time we're at.
Yep.
I'll check.
Icelandic time, fucking American time, Eastern Mountain time, we don't know.
In the meantime, Matt's just going to continue to label time zones.
Yeah, we got it. I'm going Ozarks.
Whoa, we aren't
that's
even to an
next.
hour yet.
Yeah.
What?
We're pussies.
No way.
No, we're at 57 minutes.
Are you kidding me?
Well, it's a sweat box in here. I'm
I was like, it is definitely it's a warm one today.
Yeah, well, I was just looking at it.
Get
He's
out
the only
and
one of us that
gamble.
hasn't been sweating bullets.
Yeah.
Take a break and come back for more, or we'll figure it out.
It's up to you guys.
Yeah. Smoke break.
Yeah.
Safety meeting.
Safety meeting.
Safety meeting.